All right, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Morehead City Council, it's a pleasure to have you join us this evening, especially with the warmer weather. I know we had a little unusual weather pattern come in last week, and for snow to stick around for about 10 days like it has. It's been cold for Carter County, but I think in about end of February we'll be into the spring part of the year anyway, so we can start looking up. But thank you for being here, and as we conduct the people's business here in the Morehead City Hall, and we'll go ahead and get started. And if I could recognize Councilmember George Blue for the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we love you and we thank you for this day, and thank you for the many blessings you provide for us each and every day. Heavenly Father, help us to be mindful that each and every blessing we receive comes from you and because your love for us. We thank you for all the many people in our community who work together, giving of their time to make Morehead City the greatest place on earth to live, work, and raise our families. Heavenly Father, thank you for the team of employees you have blessed us with. We pray your hand of protection around them and their families. Heavenly Father, we thank you for each one who is here tonight. We pray you give our mayor and council wisdom and guidance as we serve and make decisions for Morehead City and our residents. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Ask you now if you'll rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, before we proceed to the business part of the agenda, we have a couple of special presentations, recognitions this evening. The first one being Morehead City Resolution 2026-R-09. It's in appreciation to Brian Pasco upon his retirement from the Morehead City Police Department. And the second one is a proclamation declaring February 2026 as Arts Month in Morehead City. So first, Brian, if you would come forward, please, and bring your family with you or whoever you'd like to come up. I will meet you front and center.
You look happy.
Hey, look, Pat.
Yeah.
That's all right there. He's like, let's get this over with. No, on behalf of Morehead City and the Morehead City Council, it always gives me great pleasure to recognize our employees, our staff that have dedicated their lives to public service, ones that put others before self and make this a better place than when they came. And Brian's been with us about 9-10 years now, and he's devoted his life to public service. And you've heard me say many, many times that you don't choose public service chooses you. And if that's what you're made for, that's what you do. And you do it well, and you do it above everyone else. So this evening we're here to recognize all of Brian's contributions, not just to Morehead City, but throughout the state. He's been with us about 9 years, but he's got how many? About 30 years throughout the local government employment throughout the state. And we were just fortunate that he chose Morehead City as his final place to move to and to live here and to contribute to the people of Morehead City, and we thank you for that. It's my honor to present the Morehead City Resolution 2026-R-09 in appreciation to Brian Pasco upon his retirement from the Morehead City Fire EMS Department. And whereas Morehead City desires to recognize and honor employees of the city for dedicated and distinguished contributions to the community, and whereas Brian Pasco began his career with the Morehead City Fire EMS Department as a firefighter paramedic on October the 1st, 2016, became Fire EMS Captain Paramedic on December the 6th, 2018, and will retire as a battalion chief on February the 1st, 2026, with more than 9 years of faithful service to Morehead City and more than 29 years of service in the North Carolina retirement system, having previously worked for the Greenville and Kinston Fire Departments, along with serving in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. And whereas during his tenure with the Morehead City Fire EMS Department, Brian Pasco became a fire rescue instructor, providing instructions across North Carolina as well as internationally through mission trips. And whereas Brian Pasco is the founder of the Fire Watch Training Company, LLC, where he continues to elevate responder readiness across the fire service, a founding member of the North Carolina Urban Search and Rescue Team Department in Greenville, and established the North Carolina Water Rescue Team in Morehead City. And whereas Brian Pasco earned the following awards in recognition: Fire Officer of the Year 2023, Life Saving Awards in Morehead City, Greenville, and Kinston, Meritorious Unit Citations in Morehead City, Greenville, and Kinston, Meritorious Unit Awards in Morehead City, Greenville, and Kinston, Kinston Fire Department Fire Chiefs Award for the year 2002, Kinston Fire Department Community Relations Fire Prevention Award in the year 2001. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of Morehead City that appreciation be shown to Brian Pasco in honor of his loyal service and dedication to the citizens of Morehead City, and all are encouraged to extend congratulations to him upon his retirement. Wish you a good future for you and your family, and just thank you for many years of service here in Morehead City. The Chief has...
Just to echo what the mayor said, and to congratulate Chief Pasco on his retirement, as a small token, and I guess we could call it a gift to you from the department. We're going to present you with your fire helmet and your badge. And also we have a plaque for you. So, Battalion Chief Brian Pasco, in recognition and appreciation of your dedication and service to Morehead City Fire and EMS, I present you this plaque of 28 years of service.
There you go, Mayor.
Is there anyone here from the Arts Council, Carter County?
He's on the way.
Too many faces in the crowd. No, it's quite an honor. We present this proclamation every year to the Arts Council of Carter County, and just think about all the culture, all the many things, the many gifts that they've brought to Carteret County, not just Morehead City, but Carteret County. And there's just so much talent out there from all ages. If you've never been to their art show, you need to go. And just, I want to say it, yeah, a community is defined by the gifts and the talents of everybody that lives there that contributes to our community. And the Arts Council has been contributing here for as long as I can remember, about 36 years. 50 years, yeah. And so it's my honor to recognize them and all the past members and all their contributions to Carteret County and Morehead City for all the arts and all the talent they've But today we present them the Mayor's Proclamation of Arts Month, February 2026. And whereas the public interest in the arts as well as the number of artists and arts-related businesses in Morehead City continues to grow, and whereas these businesses and organizations have a substantial impact both within the town and the region, and whereas the arts and the humanities are being recognized for positively impacting the quality of life, attracting visitors, and enhancing both cultural and economic growth. And whereas arts education is vital for helping students develop creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving abilities. And whereas the Arts Council of Carter County will be celebrating the arts during their 36th annual Art from the Heart professional art event, January the 29th through February the 11th, 2026, and the Student Art Show, February the 16th through the 27th, 2006. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Mayor Jerry Jones, as the Mayor of Morehead City, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 as Arts Month, and invite everybody to celebrate with the Carter County's Arts Council and come to their show this year and see what it's all about. Last week. I appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the consent agenda. And these are items that have been vetted through our committee structure. Most of them are housekeeping items that you see routinely every month. And so they recommend that they be passed collectively on the consent agenda. The council does have the option of pulling any item off for individual consideration if they wish. All right, is there a motion on the floor to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion made by Richard, seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hands. It is unanimous. Okay, next item of business is under new business, and we have two items. And the first item is to approve the Morehead City 2026-2027 health insurance renewal of Blue Cross Blue Shield and the North Carolina Health Insurance Pool. All right?
Good evening. In your agenda packet, you will have our two options for our medical insurance renewals, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have regarding them. The first option showcases an 8% renewal over current medical rates. This would require a slight change in our plan, not to structures or to tiers, but to coverage for GLP-1 prescriptions for weight loss only. With this option, it's a cost-saving measure to put in to play for benefits. It would not prevent an employee from having the option to get a GLP-1 prescription from their healthcare provider. It would just not go through insurance for payment. So that is the main difference in this option.
Okay.
Our
Right.
second,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. Our second option would be to keep our plan as is, and that would require a 12.5% increase in funding rates.
Mr. Mayor, can I?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this in length during our finance and administration meeting, and I'm kind of torn both ways. I understand the additional cost of the 4% or 4.5% increase of probably around 150,000, correct? Difference?
So right now, the funding difference between the two options is around $89,541.
So it's a little bit cheaper than I was, okay.
However, the increase over what we're currently paying,
Right.
The 8% increase is $159,181.
Yeah.
The 12.5% is $248,722.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit torn between the two. I just wanted to have an opportunity to hear from the other council members. I know these GLP-1 drugs are very good when they are administered through your doctor. I know we've heard a lot about them on the news lately, where it has kind of helped in ways that individuals have been able to come off of high blood pressure medicines, high cholesterol medicines. They've been able to just, overall quality of life to be able to help, even statin drugs, they've been able to come off of some of them. And I think it's a good tool when it's used the right way, when it's distributed from your doctors and in cooperation with your doctors. So I can kind of go, again, I can kind of go both ways. I know it is a cost savings, but with a budget the size we have, and we're only talking $80,000, I just would like to hear from the other council members on what they think. Either way, I think it's a good tool, but if they don't want to go forward, I can go the other way too. So I'll listen to my other council
Yeah.
members.
Anybody have any questions for Christian?
Do not.
No. All right, yeah, we do, so we have a choice.
You do.
Okay.
If I may add, right now we have about 7 members on our plan that are part of the weight loss, have the weight loss prescription, which is costing about $100,000 in claim spend. What is trending with GLP-1 drugs, what we see it specifically for weight loss, is that cost tripling year over year. So that's one reason, looking at the funding difference. But yeah, these are the 2 options that we have to adequately fund the medical plan. And this is for medical coverage only.
So with that, Mr. Mayor,
You make the motion.
yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion in favor of the GPL-1 drug for the 12.5%, and let's just see where it goes. I'm in favor of keeping that drug available to our employees and keeping our employees healthy.
I'm going to step in on this as well. I do use that.
Is that a second?
No.
Okay, well, I want a second before we
Okay,
have discussion, okay? We don't get a second, we don't get a vote.
No second? All right.
A second, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, so I reckon there's a motion for the other choice?
I want to ask Kristen a question,
Okay.
and it's more to re-emphasize that the medication is available for people with prediabetes or other things that require this drug. So we're not, if we don't vote this way, we are not preventing our employees from getting essential medication. This is more under the line of I don't know what I would call it, cosmetic or some other softer term. But to me, it seems to be a drug of choice, an avenue of choice for weight loss.
So you can be, to clarify, this is specific for weight loss. So if you've gone to your physician and this is the recommended treatment plan for weight loss, it would, excluding GLP-1 drugs for weight loss, you would not be able to pay for the prescription through your insurance. It is not denying care, it's not denying the standard of care to anyone that's in our plan. You can still go to the doctor and get your prescription. It just, the paying for it is not going to be part of the insurance plan. It would allow a member to go direct to manufacturer and pay the cash price, because right now we are subject to the commercial insurance rate for these drugs, which is around $1,000 to $1,250 per month per dose. So as a self-insured plan, your employees may see a copay option, but the rest of that cost goes back to the employer. So that is what I mean when I say claim spend. So that's where the $100,000 amount roughly is with claim spend. But it is specific to weight loss. If you are prescribed a GLP-1 for any other any other diagnosis, diabetes or whatever the FDA has approved it for, it would still be covered by the plan at the commercial rate.
Can I ask a question, Mayor? So let me understand. Just suppose that we have an employee that's going to the doctor that has high blood pressure, that has taken a statin drug, cholesterol concerns, and the doctor wants to prescribe one of these weight loss drugs to try to wean them off that medication, and the doctor prescribes it. So the way I understood it in the committee, there would still be a cost associated with the employee having to pay for it. It would not be covered through our insurance like it is right now, that there could be a cost of between $350 to $500. Did I not hear that correct?
The direct-to-consumer price, if they were to go, if you do not have insurance that would cover a GLP-1 drug for weight loss, if that's what the doctor is prescribing it for, I think that's where your diagnosis, what the reasoning behind the prescription. Going direct to the manufacturer, you pay a cash price, which is around $350.
Okay.
So being part of a group plan, we have to coordinate with what's called a PBM, a pharmacy benefits manager, which is a third-party administrator, and they negotiate those contract prices. Group insurance is subject to the commercial rates. So when you have insurance, you have to comply with that. If it's not covered, you have the option to pay the direct cash price, which is around $350 per dose. But all of that would come from the employee at that point. It is a eligible expense under a health savings account or a flexible spending account plan because it's for a prescription prescribed by a physician.
And my understanding that I've had with it is the insurance is not going to cover it. You can buy it out of pocket, but the insurance itself is not going to cover the drug unless there's an underlying reason for the drug. I mean, you would have to be either on high blood pressure, cholesterol, a statin drug, or the insurance is not going to pay for it anyway. Now, you can buy it out of pocket if you want to pay for it, but to get the insurance to approve it, there's got to be an underlying factor in order to get it.
You have to have like a diagnosis.
A diagnosis.
That would require it.
So they're not using it just to go into a doctor and say, okay, doctor, I want to lose weight. There's got to be an underlying diagnosis in order for the insurance to even approve it to
It would
begin
have,
with.
so if they just go to the doctor and say, I'd like to lose weight,
Right.
they'd have to, the doctor has to follow the standard of care. I'm not a physician. I can't say what those steps are.
Right.
This is a specific carve out of weight loss medication.
Yeah.
So if the doctor says you have diabetes or another approved diagnosis that would allow them to prescribe a GLP-1 drug, it would still be covered by our plan because the diagnosis isn't, or the reason for it isn't just weight loss.
It's not for cosmetic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? Excuse me. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor, unless it wants to come out of the committee.
No, I've already made my motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve the option A, I think as it is, the 8% increase.
Okay, motion by Richard,
I'll second.
seconded by Bill to approve, select option B. Is that correct? No,
A.
Option A.
First.
Option A, okay. Make sure we get that for the record.
Option A is what we have currently, right?
So
No.
No,
it would,
I'll let Chris.
so it would be to approve the 8%.
Okay, approve the 8%.
It's not what we currently have, Mr. Walker. We currently have this plan for our employees.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All right,
Discussion?
Discussion.
Yes. Can I?
You
mind?
sure can.
All right, I have been a subject of this for a short while, and I've had it where now my insurance is not through the town, I have it through the college, the state health plan. I've had it where they paid for it and with a out-of-pocket copay, very minimal, and I've had where they would not pay for it, okay? There are websites out there under these drug companies that people can go to and get, for lack of better words, I'm gonna say a coupon where they can get it, and I was getting it for $35, I think it was $35 a month. but now, for whatever reason, our state health plan insurance decided to cover it again. So, you know, there's ways you can get around it, and it's just a matter, and it's not hard to find these coupons, but you can't use the coupon unless an insurance company denies it. So, that's been my experience.
But that, like I've already said, my concern is the insurance company is not going to approve it unless there's an underlying factor. There's got to be a reason. I just don't think you can go and get the insurance company to pay for this drug for cosmetic reasons. There has to be an underlying issue, and we've already stated what those issues are. So I like the other plan, and I like it the way it is, and I certainly think it's a tool that our employees can use, and why not? We're already paying for it. Why not already keep the plan as is? So, thank you.
But this is $100,000 that will cost us this year.
Absolutely.
It's not that, we're gonna pay what we used to pay plus another $100,000 to perpetuate the plan.
But it is for a diagnosis. It's not for cosmetic. It's for an underlying issue or reason that they're being prescribed the medication.
That's what we have at 8%. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So the 8% is excluding it for weight loss.
Right.
Specifically.
But if you have a prescribed need,
Right.
you
Diabetes,
would
Yes.
get the medication.
With a cost. With a cost.
Well,
of
you're
$350.
gonna cost anyhow.
No.
You're gonna pay an
The
out of
plan
pocket.
that we have now, it is no cost.
No.
If we pass this for the 8%, you will still have to, the employee will have to come out of pocket at least $350
Yes, the employee would be paying the full cost at the cash.
of the medication.
Of the cash price, which is a lot less than what the commercial rate is.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So
ma'am.
right now, as the employer, you know, we're absorbing the majority of those costs for any prescription. That is just the nature of our plan. But this one specifically, because the commercial rates are so high compared to the cash price, that's where the big difference is.
Yeah,
But-
there is still a cost, there will be a cost associated to our employees if they are prescribed this medication.
Yes, and they have a cost now, depending on the plan they choose, because we have the two options, depending on their structure and what formulary structure those prescriptions would be on if it's maintained. There is some cost, but the 8% option carve out of the GLP-1 drugs for weight loss only is a mechanism for cost savings. So the employer is not paying the majority of those costs.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Question. So in summary, the employee still is able to get that medicine,
Correct.
and it's gonna cost us less. Is that right?
Correct.
That's what I wanted to hear. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Mayor Pro Tem Baloo opposing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under new business is to approve the amended contract with Daniels and Daniels Construction Company, Inc. from design to build for the W.S. King Recreation Building. And just for the record, we all did receive an email today from Melissa Oden. The city clerk has a copy of that, and just in summary, she is requesting that we deny this contract tonight until there's more public input, just for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All
Good
right.
evening, council. My name is John Wade. I'm with Orindo Engineers, working on behalf of the city, coordinating the design elements of the W.S. King Center expansion. What you are approving tonight is the construction price for the addition. This will allow the city to go through their financing mechanisms, and then we'll come back to council once those financing mechanisms are completed for final approval, and then construction immediately thereafter.
Okay. I'll ask anybody from the council to have any questions for John, the engineer. Okay. All righty. The suggestion on the agenda is to approve the amended contract with Daniels and Daniels. So what do we do? Yeah. Council, may Mr. Oden speak?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, come on up. Thank you, Curtis. And just for the record, name and address. We know who you are, but just for the record.
Curtis Oden, 1412 Avery Street, been there resident 44 years. I've served on the planning board 3 terms, 2 terms as chair, and I'm currently on another term, 2nd year planning board. I've been very involved in Morehead City. Started out as gym supervisor coach at the old USO. Some of you might remember that on Evans Street, over where the W.S. King gym is now. I used to be gym supervisor there part-time while working with the county. I've coached kids soccer, softball, basketball, and there's other sports that I assisted in. But the reason I'm here really is to echo the sentiment y'all got the email today about the approval of this project for the renovation of W.S. King. Mr. Taylor, the mayor, and also I think Mr. Ballou was on the reestablishment of the Recreation Commission. Is that right?
Yes. David Horton was.
Was it David Horton?
David.
David, okay. And at that time, it was some concerns about the renovation of the W.S. King. Since that time, there appeared to be some possibly drastic changes. I live 1 block over with the lights and stuff on the north side of town, Calico Creek, which is dwindling. Our population minority is probably less than 5%. I know the county is 6%. I remember a lot of the memories of going over there playing basketball, sports, and softball field, and the reoccurrence of the Recreation Commission. And I think that we may be moving a little too fast as far as approval tonight on an $8 million addition without a little more community input. I'm in favor of recreation. I used to go out there myself before exercise and those kind of things. But I think we really need to take a deep look at this contract before we hurriedly get into it. It goes, and if we don't, I would like to put out some points that Melissa couldn't be here because she works for the government. She couldn't make it tonight, but she asked her father to fill in, and I'm trying to do the best I can. And like I say, if you think I'm out of line, but the W.S. King is one of the historical black institutions in Morehead. Actually, it's the only. Other than we dedicated the Martin Luther King part, which I had the privilege to do the address. In just filling out what's going on in the budget and the urgency of $8 million, I think should be more public input. I'm in favor of improvement. I was in favor when I was on the Recreation Commission, but I only had the opportunity to serve 1 year. Of a 3-year, my wife was on it. She only could serve 1 year, and my daughter was on it. She only served 1 year out of a 3-year term. And so we know about how things go. And there has been discussion over the years. It's just not come up. But all of a sudden now, the urgency for $8 million, I think the public needs to have some input. And I feel strongly about that. And I hope y'all are listening to what I'm saying. The north side is dwindling as far as minorities. When I went over there was minorities all the way down. Now minorities don't own very few properties on Calico Creek. And Mr. Walker, you can vouch to that. And not just on the north side, but Morehead population is dwindling as far as minorities. And so recreation is something that is vital for our young people. They need to have places to go. We used to have 2 or 3 bowling alleys in Morehead City. None. Had a skating rink, 2 at one time. We have none of those activities. Skate parks, it was mentioned, the county has one out in Swenson Park, and I used to have to carry my granddaughter to Atlantic Beach. And but we need to really look at this plan and let the public have some input before we go and award an $8 million contract. I'm for progress. I'll pay my taxes. Believe me, you can go check over there at the courthouse this year how much taxes I had to pay. And we have 4 or 5 properties, and we're blessed. But everybody don't have them. But the tax has gone up. And y'all aware of how much it is? Some of them double. And some is triple. We had to go to the hearing because of how they jacked your prices up. And it's because of the appraisals, and I went in the county appraiser's office. He came from Onslow County. And they said that they had to do this in order, I guess, for them to get paid. Morehead City always had a city tax collector. Miss Nancy Holland, Miss Amy Holland. Morehead always had their tax collector. We don't have a tax collector in the size of the city of Morehead, and we're growing. And yet we got to pay out the county to do the city tax. We need to take a look at this. I'm serious. Because this hit us in our pocketbook. And they don't have anything to do with recreation, but believe me, you're going to have to pay it. That $8 million has not been explained about how the grant is coming. Is it all grant? Is it half a grant? We don't know. And so we need to seriously look at this before we approve it tonight. Y'all can remember the Recreation Commission, the things they wanted to do. And are they talking about taking out the field and adding back of the field? Are you talking about going up? How far up? Is it 2-story? I think more needs to be entered to before we enter an $8 million contract. Like I say, I'll pay my share, but I think it's not fair to the citizens to have to automatically just accept this proposal tonight of $8 million. And if y'all think maybe I'm wrong, I would like for you to correct me. But I don't think I'm wrong. Not on this one. A lot of times I sit back and let things go. But I must speak tonight. And I'm serious that we need to really, it's not an inherit. We're not in a big hurry. See, we did a 2032 study. It took 4 or 5 meetings. So what's the urgency? That we can't put this off for a couple, or 3 months. Whatever it takes to get us a further understanding of what you're getting into. Because everything glitter ain't gold. And so that's all I got to say. I can't articulate like my daughter. She had it spelled out, but I try to come off the cuff. And sometimes I get dangerous. But I'm going to finish with this. The acting manager, Daniel Williams, will ask City Council to approve the construction of contract for W.S. King Recreation. The contract is amending the current contract from design to build with Daniels and Daniels Construction, which he submitted the plan, and the approval of the North Carolina local government finance. Now, there's a big difference in that paragraph, and I'm coming from the February 10th, 2026 letter to the mayor and the council from the acting city manager. Considering the approval of amending the contract of Daniels and Daniels Construction Incorporated from design to build for the W.S. King Recreation. Here, information crossed. All right, that's the first paragraph. Now, if you drop it down, the recommended action tonight is to contract for the W.S. King Recreation Building designed to build and approve the total cost of the project not to exceed $8,011,862, contingent upon the city manager and the North Carolina Local Government Commission. And again, I think we need to slow down. Let's get the committee, get the city involved. Let the citizens see what's going on before we go approve this $8 million. And I respectfully submit that, and I hope you take that wholeheartedly and not just railroad this through. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. All right, council, the recommended action is to approve as written on the agenda.
Can I say something, Mr. Mayor? Maybe I need to put this in the form of a motion. I just want to get some discussion started, that's all. I'll make a motion that we suspend or table this contract, and I'll let it go at that and see if there's a second. Let me add to it. To table it for enough time for what Mr. Odom is saying, and I think what some other people have said in the past, and I think Mr. Walker was one, and Mr. Stiles, I believe you were too. Correct me if I'm wrong, either one of you. And to actually do get some citizen input, to do a survey, because who knows? Something needs to be done. I do know that. We all up here know that. But is it this or is it more? It could be more. So that's, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'll let it go at that.
Let me make a statement, and
Let me, we have a motion. Let's get a
I
second if we can.
understand that.
Yeah.
And I'll make a statement, and then I'll make my motion. We have an opportunity to look at this again in April of this year, when we do the 10-year strategic study for parks and recreation. That includes all of the needs of parks and recreation, and make sure we're spending the money the way the citizens would like it to be spent, and in an amount that the city can afford to pay. So I would second Richard's motion. Almost forgot what it was there, Richard. I'll second that motion.
Okay, Richard's motion was to not award the contract tonight and to delay it and till the time that we can get more citizen input on the design.
Mayor, the motion was to table it.
To table it?
I'm trying to convert it with.
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
The motion maker, and if that is the case, then it goes, if you think in Robert's rules and look for the image, you actually put it on the table and it stays there.
Right.
Until somebody makes a motion to take it off the table to discuss it. Because there's no date certain as to when you want to do it, it just stays there until you bring it back.
Okay, is that what you were stating, Richard?
Well, however it needs to be worded, I think that we need to look further into it and actually get some citizens' comments and some citizens' input. Now, however you want to word that, I don't know, Mr. City Attorney, so.
Well, what you said is pause, put it on
Right,
the table.
right.
I'll tell you when I wanna come back to it.
Okay.
So that gives you as much time as you need until you
Okay,
actually.
so
Well,
take it
that,
off.
I think that's what I'm trying to say without saying it in those flavorful words.
Richard, if I could
Go ahead,
offer an amendment.
go ahead.
Rightfully so, this council wants to do the right thing by Parks and Recreation and provide opportunities for our young people. I agree with some of Mr. Curtis' comments about we don't have enough for young people to do. But I would like to put a date in the motion to move that we delay the final decision until after the completion of the Parks and Recreation study that will begin in April.
I believe so.
One of the reasons we need to make sure to look at all of the analysis is you need to realize we have spent a lot of money to get to this stage at some very, very sincere people who want to see this go forward and will be grumpy when it doesn't go forward. If we stop now and redo and not do anything, we're going to experience something called a sunk cost. Because we've already paid to have this thing engineered and to have it designed. And how much is the sunk cost in this project already?
This is normally when I look for Jewel for that number, but I can tell you it's in excess of 500,000 at this point.
So we better make sure.
And I'm fine with tabling, I will do whatever council wishes. But when it gets untabled, the price will be different. I don't know if it'll be up or down, or generally things go up.
Yep.
But, I mean, this is a contract priced by a contractor. They will have to rebid all aspects of it. And so it will be a different number in some manner.
Daniel is probably right that it will go up. I don't argue with
Just
that.
making you aware, and I think everybody understands that.
Yeah, we'll, what's 8.2 million right now, be 10 million in a couple of years. Mr. Curtis, thank you for what you shared. I'm reading through Missy's email again, and we received it earlier. And I respect her points and your points as well. I know what you're saying about what's the hurry, because financial situation we're in, and I know people's property values have doubled and tripled and all that. My thing is, as far as citizen input, we had a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board committee. You spoke with that committee. I think you served on it. The consensus from that committee, which that committee was an extension to the citizens, and the consensus from that committee was that this is something that the citizens want. I can speak to me knocking on doors and how parents told me, Lee, we need more things for our youth to do. We need to expand our Parks and Recreation facility. I'm going off, when I made my decision in June to pass this in the budget, I'm going off of what I'm hearing from the constituents. We had a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. They were saying the same thing. Ms. Dana Starling, Travis Adams, they were an extension to the citizens. I'm all for public input, but this is something that we have been discussed for a couple years now, way before I even got on the council. I remember Councilmember Walker talking to me about it before I even got on the council. And nobody has objected to renovating our Parks and Rec facility until recently. I know we got a letter from the owner of the sports center thinking that we're gonna compete with his business. We're not trying to compete with his business. What we're doing is trying to expand our Parks and Recreation programming. I coach youth flag football. We sign people up and the first day it sells out. Youth basketball, I coached that in the past. That sells out in the first day. So what we're doing, we want to do this in phases, Mr. Curtis. First phase is just going to be ground level, possible walking track on the ground level, no second story. Staff gave us several options last year. I think it was 3 options. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel. But one option was around about 8 million, which is what we went with. Another option, 14, 15 million. Third option was 21 million. I feel like we made the best fiscally responsible decision by choosing the $8 million plan. We went with the cheapest thing. I know Councilmember Walker feel like the citizens deserve better than what the current project we're about to vote on tonight. But we decided that we're gonna do it in phases. My main thing is, how much longer are we gonna continue to neglect our children? I see where Missy actually compared, no disrespect to Missy, because she makes some good points, but I want to quote her on this email. The only proven difference between Project Grander and the W.S. King renovation project are, number one, the demographics of community that is most directly impacted, North Creek side versus South downtown side, and 2, the council's level of interest in truly hearing all, and then follow on action response or silence, which has been more often the case. See prior noted engagement above. Although our requests may not come with pockets as deep, the passion and concern should be valued just the same with no respect of person. I have to respectfully disagree. There is a big difference between the W.S. King renovation project and Project Grander. We're not talking about the possibility of eminent domaining nobody property to do this project. We're not talking about selling 4 of our public parks to do this project. Those are 2 of the big differences right there. So I respect what Missy's saying, but I do not compare this project to Project Grander. And we've got citizen input from the Parks and Rec Advisory Board Committee. It wasn't like we were talking about this thing through behind closed doors. We passed it in the budget last budget season. I didn't see any strong opposition when we passed it in the budget. Project Grander, we packed out this whole room. You had people all in the foyer downstairs in opposition to Project Grander. Where's the opposition to the W.S. King renovation project?
I didn't say opposition. I said let the public have input on what's going on. Now, like you said, $8 million now, if you had that for 15 million, it might be a equal place.
Yeah. And you made a good point, Mr. Curtis.
And I wanted to interject, I'm sorry, but, you know, we're under council discussion, and you're engaging with the public out here. A motion's on the
But you
floor,
let him
it's been
speak.
seconded, and we're in council discussion. And you're challenging a speaker. That's not what we're up here right now for.
So how am I challenging him?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You're talking to the public, not to the council.
You let him get up and speak.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. Excuse me.
I've been working with this project for years, okay? There's some of you all that know that. As Councilman Stiles has said, that we had an advisory board. Gloria was on that board. She chaired it for a couple of years. We've had some, how do you want to say it, citizen input. However, don't think that this is final. It's evolving. What we'd like to have, just to give you a picture of what we'd like to do, there's a Parks and Recreation Center in Newbert. If you have a chance, stop.
Harvey, again, you want to call Mr. Curtis back up and discuss it with him? It's like we're trying to convince him. I understand what he's saying, we're not being transparent.
Well, I'm trying to say this
Yeah.
I guess I'm speaking to the room. He just happened to be the one to bring it up, but I'm speaking to the public. That if anybody wants to know what we're trying to do, we're looking at something that's like in Newbern. That's gonna be a community center. We're starting with 8 million, okay? It's gonna be an evolution. You're gonna have input as we start building this. We might wanna go ahead and have some kind of a group put together now in the process of how we end up with the final product. But we have vetted this for a few years. When I say a few years, I mean a few years. And we're at the door. And I think we need to go ahead and move forward and still have citizens' input as we move along forward. because that's not going anywhere. Because it's gonna be in our community, it's gonna be for the public, it's gonna be a community center, and we want everybody's input. And this is just the beginning. It's not the end. As Councilman Abel said, it may cost more, because we're gonna give you all what we feel you need. Now, I'm one of the people that think that we should do even more than what we're doing. I want to, I really think so. But 8 million, I'll take 8 million to get it started. But this is going to be a very positive thing for the city, very positive. And it's for all citizens and all ages. It's not just going to be for kids. It's going to be truly a community center for all people and for all health. Maybe we might not need that special drug for fatness or weight, Maybe we could put some stuff in there to have people exercise. But no, this is how we are. And I just think we ought to go ahead and continue to move forward.
Mr. Mayor, if I can speak, there's, making sure I'm speaking to the room and those that will be watching this later. We're not in any hurry to do this. This project we've been talking about this for at least 4 years that I know of. That it started when I was on the Parks and Rec Committee of the council with Mr. Horton, with Councilmember David Horton. And we started this project, and there was money put in the budget to explore and to really look at this thing. And it has evolved over the years, and here we are at the time that we've got to make a decision. Like Mr. Williams has said, we're in this thing for $500,000. We're locked in at a price for $8.2 million. If we stop this thing and delay it, then we go back out for bids, then we could be in the $10 to $12 million range. There has been plans submitted to us. We have looked over those plans. We have looked at projects 30 million. We've looked at projects 25 million. We have looked at plans for 8 million. And we've kind of took the bottom route of trying to save on the taxes, but we've got to do something for the kids. We keep hearing, we're building city halls, we're building police stations, we're building fire stations. It's time to build something for the kids. And that's where we are. It's time to do something for the kids. Here we are at the crossroads. Okay, we're going to delay it, or we're going to move forward what we've been working on here for the past 4 years. And I think it's time to move forward. We've got a good project. We have got money in the project, the $500,000. We've got a good project at the $8 million. I think it's time to let's move forward and not delay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, the council's had their discussion. 2 years ago, and that's been about how long it has been, and I had questioned if the public was been involved, and I was advised that it had been involved, and I knew it hadn't, so I understand the transparency part of this. This is a big investment for Morehead City, and I know we think if we delay this and it goes back to bid, if we bid it just like the plans are now, yes, it probably will go up. But the public might not want the plans as drawn. That's what we don't know. And that's what I want the council to think about. And we got a motion on the floor to table this. And then Bill made the motion to amend the motion to state that, help me, attorney, to wait until the study is complete.
To ensure that we start the study at the April time frame so we don't put it off indefinitely.
Gotcha.
We need to pay attention to it in a month and a half.
Okay. And Richard, did you agree with that amendment?
I don't think that, and I will ask Mr. Taylor to clarify, I don't think that changes anything from the motion to saying to table it. He's just talking about when we want to pull it back off the table to talk about it after the study we're doing.
He's putting a sunset on it.
And because your motion might be different if you want to wait until that study starts, but not until it finishes. So what we've got is you either do a motion to table it or you do a motion to a date certain. Those are your options. We don't know what the date certain is. Your comment was, let's not pull it, trying not to put words in your mouth, is let's not pull it off the table until we get to a point where we can pull it off the table and actually deal with it.
I just wanted to assure all the council member and the folks out there
Right.
that we're gonna address it in the near future and not let it lag 2 years. Daniel, do you know a date certain? I'd be glad to put a date certain.
I know the beginning date, I don't know the completion date of that.
You know, we got barely the RFP done and the vendor that would do the work selected, but he has not scoped out the project and given us any type of critical path, has he?
Our kickoff meeting was delayed by a foot of snow.
So I can't give a definite date, but I want people to understand, we're gonna do something for the youth. We don't wanna wait forever.
Again,
And that was the reason I was trying to amend it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you see parliamentary procedure, sometimes people put it on the table and it dies there, because nobody ever makes a motion to take it back off the table and bring it into the forefront where you guys can discuss it again. So it's up to this council how long it stays on the table. But we can't say April, because you don't know whether that's a date certain, or you can set it for April if you want. If you come back in April and say, now we want to table it to another date certain, you can do that. So it doesn't have to be absolutely the date that you're going to do what you're needing to do. You can set it for a time certain, or you can leave it on the table until you decide to bring it off, and that would be probably based on what you see here. The thing that has been said, and that's not legal, I'm parliamentary right now, is you got $500,000 in it, you got people standing by to go forward, you don't think you've had enough public comment, so you want to delay this decision tonight. So we already know you're not going, nobody's voted yet, so I don't know that you're not planning on saying, let's go ahead with the plan as it was presented here tonight. The motion that's on the floor is to table it. Mr. Taylor has not given us a specific date. We will take it back up. He's suggesting we make some less than certain date, okay? I think what we basically have is a motion and a second to table it until we decide to bring it back so we can talk about it.
Mr. Mayor, can I stand your question?
Yeah, we're still under discussion. I was just trying to get that cleared for the
We've been
clerk.
working for this project quite a while.
Yes, sir.
and We've got quite a bit of money invested in it, and we're ready to move forward. So if this project moves forward tonight, we're ready to break ground when?
The notice to proceed, according to my calendar now, should happen May 24th, May 25th.
Okay. And we've already made provisions with the Parks and Rec, scheduling and everything that we're moving forward with this project, as far as scheduling goes?
We are looking at rescheduling stuff because, yes, it would take the multi-use field out of play for a while.
Right.
So I was at Parks and Rec today,
Yes,
looking on how we can move events.
Okay, so we can move forward, we're ready to break ground in May, and we're already looking at rescheduling things.
Yes, sir.
Parks. Okay. Or we delay it, and we could be another.
It makes
6
my
months.
scheduling easier.
What's that?
It makes my scheduling easier,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor to table it and a second. We've had discussion. All in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? All right, motion is denied, 3-2. Council members Abel and Taylor voting for, council members Stile, Baloo, and Walker opposing. All right, now you'll need a motion to approve.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve the amended contract with Daniels and Daniels Construction Company Incorporation from design to build for the W.S. King Recreation Building.
Okay, motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
Now Harvey, okay. Second by Harvey. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hand. It's unanimous. All right, thank you, guys. City managers report.
hadn't been here long enough to report anything.
Got it. Citizens' comments. Anybody else like to make any comments to the council? Come forward. Remind us of 3 minutes, and these are comments.
My name is Chris McCafferty. Thank you for allowing me to speak and for the hard work all of you do to keep Morehead City running smoothly. I'm a commercial fisherman who advocates for our freedom to fish and eat local wild-caught seafood by offering practical solutions that benefit everyone and the resource. Please take time to read the paper provided about how we can make fishing fun again and consider supporting these solutions in an official statement or proclamation to the Governor, Stein, North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries, and our North Carolina legislature. I'll be happy to read the document and or answer any questions after the following comments, if time permits. Partisan politics are tearing America apart. Centralized power threatens our constitutional republic that is intended to be governed at the most local level possible with individual liberty at its core. I respectfully ask that this nonpartisan local governing body to help bring power back to the people and set an example for citizens practicing collective self-governance with official representation. Please consider setting up an official online forum to share information, facilitate discussions, accept written public comments, and hold polls that guide our elected officials' votes. The official website should have a way for residents to securely log in with their driver's license or other valid voting ID number and a password. I would ask that if a supermajority of at least 300 residents support or oppose something being polled, that is how the official council vote will go. We could also hold polls for other elected offices to give us a voice that helps our representatives know what we the people want them to do. This would give local citizens an independent voice that is collectively equal to special interest lobbyists without being tied to campaign contributions. One of the things I advocate for in our fisheries is the stop and review process that stops any new laws from being passed temporarily while we review what is already in place and see what is working well and what isn't, so adjustments can be made as necessary. Our town council could be the first governing body to adopt the idea and set an example for others across America. We could use our official website to form a clear vision for how we want to see our city grow and be governed based on advice and consent of concerned citizens in the future. Our little slice of heaven and the entire world as we know it are quickly changing, with Interstate 42 at our doorstep and technological advances that will forever alter the way business is done everywhere. Now is the time for us to think about how we can make the best of these changes that are coming, whether we like it or not. We can be a civil voice of reason that promotes practical solutions for securing peace, prosperity, and liberty for all. This council has a chance to help us break free from politics as usual and the dysfunctional two-party system that pits neighbors against each other and consolidates power at the highest levels of government. Please think about what we can accomplish if we try and where we are headed if nothing changes. The internet provides an unprecedented opportunity for us to communicate and coordinate like never before. Is my time up?
Yeah, you did well. Do you have a copy of that proclamation?
have copies for
Okay,
you.
if you give it to the clerk, please.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay. Anybody else in the audience like to address the council? Hey.
Good evening. My name is Andrea Williams-Sybeck. I live at 4105 Sound Drive. I just wanted to take a moment to again thank the city staff and also parts of the council and the mayor. I was a lucky participant of the Mayor's Leadership Academy last fall. I really enjoyed being one of about 14 or 15 citizens to learn more about how our government runs and learning more about how the police and the fire keep us safe. So I just wanted to thank you all for that. If we have noticed in the last, 8 to 10 weeks that having an informed group of citizens in our city is very powerful. And so as we look to the future, budget season is upon us. I would like to just ask the staff and the council to ensure that there is money in the budget next fiscal year to continue the academy, and also take an opportunity to potentially widen the scope, potentially online classes or seminars where it reaches more people, even if those people could not be in person. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Borden Wallace, 213 Lands End Road. At the City Council retreat last December 19 and the City Council meeting on January 13 of this year, statements were made about how the Wallace family had slapped the city in the face when they sold the parking lot next to the library without giving the city opportunity to buy it. I would like to outline the lot's history for the council. From 1926, when the City Hall and Fire Department were first put there, the city had free enjoyment of the adjacent parking lot for 55 years while the Wallace family paid the property taxes. After that, in 1981, the city leased the property and for the first time reimbursed the Wallace family for the amount of city and property taxes on it, plus a small amount to cover the cost of keeping the property on our insurance policies. So in the almost 100 years that Morehead had use of the property, the Wallace family never asked for nor made a profit on it. And until it was sold in 2024, the city had 5 leases on it, and all were recorded in the County Register of Deeds office and available to the public. The terms are explicit and clear. None of them states that the city shall have a right of first refusal if the owners decide to sell the property, and none of them contains language granting the city an option to purchase. And such an option was never requested by the city. Furthermore, all the leases were approved by the City Council, so that language should have been understood by its members. As to any notion that there may have been a verbal agreement or understanding that the city should be given an opportunity to buy the land before it is sold to another party, the Wallace family never made such an agreement, and in North Carolina real estate law, any such terms must be explicit and included in the written lease, and consideration must be given for them. In all of the leases of this lot, no such language appears, and no consideration was ever given beyond the minimal lease payments made to cover out-of-pocket costs. In the last 20 years, the Wallace family agreed to sell the lot to the city for its appraised value, but Morehead never made a formal offer. And in the last 10 years, the city never even approached the family about its purchase. So contrary to the statement made at the meetings, the city always had opportunity. So since 1926, the Wallace family permitted the city to have possession and use of the land for almost 100 years with no profit on the property whatsoever. That property was finally sold in 2024 when, unsolicited, a buyer made a cash offer, and just 3 months after, the city leased the same property from the new owner for the amount of taxes plus $42,000 profit annually, and that escalates 3% every year. It seems to me that the Wallace family, rather than slapping the city in the face, gave the city a very generous deal for 10 decades, a whole century. This was clearly done out of civic pride in being part of the Morehead community, and despite 2 decades of opportunity, the city never offered to buy it. I resent that the Wallace name was shamed for the lack of foresight by city leaders. Don't put that burden on us. If that property was so vital, why did the city not purchase it? Perhaps it was because the authorities assumed the free ride would go on forever.
All right, thank you, Board. Anybody else in the audience like to speak? All right, council comments. I'm sorry.
I know that the city's, my name is James Walker, 1503 Bay Street, Morehead City. I know the city council is under tremendous pressure because of taxes and taxes that have to be raised. My recommendation, this might be really simple, really, really stupid, but for the 2025 fiscal year, taxes for the Morehead City citizens triple, in some cases double, quadruple. My recommendation would be a 17% per 100 valuations for the years of 2027 and 2028, 17%. That's the same evaluations that you were going to collect, the monies that you're collecting right now for 2026. You're collecting 3 times as much money now than you did in 2024. So my proposal, 0 property values for the years of 2027 and 2028 because you already have the monies pocketed. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Anybody else in the audience like to speak? Okay, council comments. Harvey?
I'm glad everybody came out. I'm glad you got through that snowstorm we had last week, that blizzard and all that. I hope everybody was safe. I want you all to continue to be safe. Thank you for coming out, and have a great week.
Thank you, Mayor. I know I feel a lot better tonight than I did last meeting night. I'm not sure who out there has ever dealt with a kidney stone, but I was dealing with a kidney stone last meeting night, and I didn't know if I was going to pass out up here or what I was going to do, but I certainly feel so much better. It's so good to see everyone here tonight, and thank you for being here. I do want to apologize, if I may, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Borden Wallace. It's finally glad to see you and see you face to face. I've heard a lot about you, and it's good, and hopefully I get to shake your hand before you leave. I do owe Mr. Borden Wallace and the Wallace family an apology. I know that I used some strong tone and language during my comments at some previous council meetings. The only thing I'm going to say is I just wish there would have been a better understanding between your family and the town, because I still think it is a travesty that we lost that piece of property, and I just wish there'd have been a better understanding between us, and I apologize for that. But again, I do apologize to you, Mr. Borden Wallace, and I do apologize to your family if my language was strong. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and also want to thank our Public Works Department and our Public Safety Departments for being on the front line during this latest winter storm. I know Daniel and both of our public safety chiefs and their staff, they work hard to keep our citizens safe, so I just want to commend and thank them for that. Also want to congratulate Mr. Brian Pasco on a retirement, well-deserved, and I want to wish him well in the aftermath of his retirement. Also want to thank Chris for getting up and speak. Me and him met at Panera Bread a couple weeks ago. Definitely support what he's doing regarding our fishing industry. And Andrea as well, thank you for your input. And also Mr. Borden Wallace for giving us background and history, because that's something I wasn't aware of. So thank you, Mr. Wallace, for that. And Mr. Jimmy Walker, I think he just stepped out. We hear you loud and clear. We're definitely going to be working hard with our staff during our budget session starting in May to do whatever we can to alleviate the tax burden. And Mr. Curtis, thank you for your input, and I appreciate Missy's email. What I said in response wasn't meant in a disrespectful way. It's just me really wanting to stand up for our youth. And I know Harvey's right that we're not just expanding the Parks and Rec facility just for the youth, but also our seniors. But this has been vetted in the Parks and Recreation advisory committees, and through that vetting process, that, like I stated earlier, that advisory committee was an extension to the citizens and getting citizen input. So I really stand behind that decision, because I just feel like that project's been long overdue. And we can have a difference of opinion. That's what makes government what it is, and government and our constituents, that we're not often going to agree. But I just feel in my heart that's the best way forward, is to expand our Parks and Recreation facility. Lastly, early voting starts on Thursday, February 12th, ends Saturday, February 28th. Just want to encourage all the constituents to get out and vote. You know, exercise your right. Election day is on March the 3rd. You know, despite whether you vote for Mayor Jones or vote for myself, I just would like to see a great voter turnout in this municipal election, and they tagged it along with the primary election, so I think the turnout's going to be better. And that's part of getting the public input, is the public going out to the polls, letting your voices be heard through your votes. So please get out and vote, and pray before you vote. And at the end of the day, after March the 3rd, just pray that we just move forward. And the main thing is doing what's in the best interest of the Morehead City citizens. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We've had about 60 people to show up tonight. That's really a nice crowd, and I personally appreciate it a lot. You know, I have also commented several times in the past and tonight about the importance of planning. As we heard Mr. Walker talk about the tax increase and the money that we needed, this operation does consume a lot of money. We have a large number of employees. We have a summer population that creates unusual demands that cities our size usually doesn't have. I'm going to stress that when we begin the Parks and Recreation strategic study of what citizens need, we will be advertising that well, I hope, Daniel. And we'd like a big, big, big crowd to come out and express their opinion. For this much money, when you're talking 8 million, or if it's even bigger than that, we need to have everybody's input. So please, please, come out for those meetings and come out for the budget meetings that will be in May and maybe, if worst case, in June. So thank you all.
All right, Mr. Mayor, again, I would like to also thank Mr. Pasco for his service with the town and the service of North Carolina and the fire service that he so thoroughly enjoyed. And believe it or not, he does smile. I know he's putting on a face, but, and I would also echo Councilman Stiles' comment. I would like to thank Chief Dixon and Chief Wade and your personnel, obviously, for their tireless efforts during the past snowstorm. Daniel, I also like to thank your group. I know it's not your group, but the street department, they were out in earnest doing what they could with the limited amount of equipment, and I thought they did a fantastic job, and I saw them at work. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Council, and echo everything everybody said. Much appreciation. And also tonight, Council, I appreciate y'all for your dialogue this evening. We felt like it was well thought out. We represented the public well. We had discussion, and at the end of it, we voted unanimous to move on. And that's what it should be all the time, representing everybody in the community. I do understand that maybe we can learn from this in the future and maybe bring more people in, the public in, before we make large money decisions. I do remember when we decided to build City Hall, we had a display, we had renderings that we set around a room at the train station, and we had it in there for a few weeks, and we allowed everybody in the community to walk in there and view that and give their opinion about if that's the direction they wanted us to go. So it helps, and it works when the community gets involved in it, and it eliminates a lot of tension because the community doesn't understand. Although the council puts a lot of thought, a lot of energy, a lot of work into it, sometimes they really don't know that. So by being able for the community to be able to see what we're actually working on, it helps. So maybe in the future we can do that before we take action. If we can take some plans and let the council, let the community look at it and get their input before we move forward. And again, appreciate you. And Curtis, good to see you again. I know you've getting some birthdays on you like a bunch of us here, and things are happening, but it's good to see you. And tell Missy I miss her. All right, the next item on the agenda is to approve the closed session minutes for January 13th, 2026, and January 29th, 2026. I think everybody's had a chance to review them.
I move to approve the closed session minutes of January 13th and January 29th as presented.
Yeah, and this would also keep them sealed.
And keep them sealed.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll second.
All right, motion made by Bill, seconded by Harvey. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. And the last item we have is we need to recommend going to a closed session for the North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, and/or conditions of appointment of a current or prospective public officer or employee. If I could get a motion.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor, that we go into
Okay.
closed session.
Okay, Richard, second? You're second? Okay. All right. All right, all in favor up here? We go into closed session. It's unanimous. All right, thank you. We're now in closed session. Y'all welcome to sit here. We're gonna go back into the executive room. No, some loyal people here tonight.
I took their car keys.
I thought maybe you docked them for the snow stuff,
Yeah.
they were making up time.
They drive me home.
Here ain't too bad. Mm-hmm, yeah.
All right, have we got everybody? All right, I just need a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Harvey made the motion, Bill made the second. All in favor, aye? Or raise your
Aye.
hand. And there will be no further action taken this evening. With that, meeting is adjourned.